Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, is running a gallant campaign against Donald Trump in the state of New Hampshire. And he is facing calls every day, whether it's from Elisa Farah on The View, Hugh Hewitt, a Trump apologist of the highest order, to drop out of the race. He should not, he must not, because Chris Christie is the last man standing of the old Republican Party, the party of Eisenhower and the party of Reagan, the party of Lincoln, the Republican Party that believes in liberty, that believes in democracy, that believes in the sovereignty, the dignity of human rights, and the ability of the American people to choose their own leaders. The Republican Party, born in 1854 as an institution, has succumbed. It has succumbed to a demagogue, to a hustle, to a lust for power. The corruption of the modern conservative movement beggars belief. There is Wayne LaPierre, the grifter who has bankrupted the National Rifle Association and spread mayhem and chaos through its extremism around the country. All of the death was in support of a giant financial grift. There is Matt Schlapp, the accused sexual predator who remains firmly ensconced on top of the seething, malice-fueled CPAC organization. There is Nick Fuentes, the Nazi who dined with Donald Trump. Everywhere you look, from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Lauren Boebert, there is the signs of decay, a rancidity of spirit, an ominous warning. People who have been trusted with political power in the United States have turned against the founding fathers who redeemed America through the civil rights movement and finally gave this country the promise that it could meet its high ideals and ideas laid down on paper that declared we are all created equally. Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, stands firmly on the MAGA side of the line. Her political campaign is performative. She isn't running for president. She's running for vice president. She's running for Secretary of State. She'll get back in line as quickly as Vivek Ramaswamy will. All these people care about is their self-interest. They don't care about the country. They care about Trump's pleasure. And that is what must be stopped. Chris Christie is truly the man in the arena. What he did in 2016 was wrong, and he has acknowledged it. Of the tens and thousands of officials of the Republican Party, elected officials and others, there have been very few who have said what Chris Christie said, that he was wrong to support Donald Trump. He was wrong to endorse Donald Trump, and that he will never do it again. The Republican primary, like all of American politics, is terribly covered by America's corrupted media. But the only issue that has ever mattered in the Republican primary was the issue that came from the question asked in the first debate. It was this: which of you presidential candidates will continue to support Donald Trump, even if he is convicted as a felon of violating the nation's Espionage Act? Chris Christie kept his hand down. Nikki Haley kept her hand up. And that is the answer to the question why Chris Christie cannot get out of the Republican race, not after New Hampshire, not after South Carolina, not ever. He has to go, like Bill Clinton once said, until the last dog dies. What Chris Christie is doing is noble. He is standing up and telling the truth. In America, too many times, members of the media draw a hypocritical standard, and the American people assign an impossible one. They demand their politicians be saints. People who apply for positions of political leadership are not perfect. Many are flawed, like all people. Chris Christie has flaws. At least he's open about them. But one of his flaws is he's never, ever going to lie to the American people again about the unfit demagogue from Queens. So when Chris Christie is asked by Hugh Hewitt, a disgraced Trump apologist, his answer should be never. When he's asked by Elisa Farah, who cashed in big time, pretending to be against Trump after serving him loyally through the detention of children, the answer should be never. There's an American spirit of defiance that Chris Christie is embracing. And who knows, it may be that there's a moment ahead where the American people wake up and appreciate that defiance. There may be a great moment ahead for Chris Christie, but he must pass the endurance test. On Christmas Eve in 1944, the 101st Airborne Division was completely surrounded in the town of Bastogne. They were zeroed in for destruction. They didn't have rations. They didn't have food. They didn't have water. They were low on ammunition. They were freezing, hungry, and about to be killed. The German commander sent a note under a white flag through the American lines, demanding the immediate surrender of American forces. The American commander gave a historic response. He wrote back to the Nazi officer, from the American commander, nuts. That was the answer to the demand for surrender. There will be no surrender for Chris Christie, and there must be no surrender on the part of the American people against a movement that seeks literally to destroy the American way of life, which is utterly dependent on a simple, sacred, elegant, and historic idea that we, the people, decide who leads, that we, the people, bow to no king, to no emperor, to no high priest, and to no Caesar. Donald Trump wants to be a dictator, but this is the United States, and the answer is no. And the difference between Chris Christie and Nikki Haley is this. Nikki Haley will fully support Donald Trump's attempts to take power by any means. And Chris Christie will stand on the line and do anything he can to stop him. That's the difference. And that's why Chris Christie must stay in this campaign.